Hi, I'm Julie Hornock with United in Autism, and I am super, super excited about our guest that I have today. So, we have Josh and Megan Harris, and they have some really neat things about their story. One of them is that they moved to Maui, Hawaii for a healthier lifestyle. And the other super cool thing, they have lots of cool things, but the other super cool thing is that Megan married into Josh's family and with his child with autism. And I think that's such a neat thing whenever a parent chooses it, knowing autism. Hi, Megan, I see you. I'm going to try and pull you on. All right, I'm going to bring you on camera. We should have that neat love story. Hi. Thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Hello.
having us.
So much.
Oh, we're so thrilled and just thank you. So I love your background. It just makes me smile and I feel like it shows your life and your. So let's kind of get started. Just kind of give us a little background about your family.
Well, currently there is myself, Megan, Gage, who is 15, and we have Stone and River. Stone is 8, River is 7.
Mm-hmm.
We currently live in Haiku, Hawaii, on Maui,
Mm-hmm.
and Gage is a lot of the inspirato and really the reason we're here. So
Mm-hmm.
the reason we're on the phone with you, the reason we're on this island. So
Yeah. Well, Josh, can you just kind of start us off? Tell us. I know this was your part of your story, but tell us just about Gage's diagnosis, and then I want to hear of how you met Megan.
of course, his diagnosis around 8 months to 2 years
Mm-hmm.
is when we started seeing certain signs of delay of whether it be speech or just basic crawling and certain things, solid eye contact, and uh, but there was a delay in certain things. He also started to have seizures,
Mm-hmm.
very, a very odd type of seizure that we went to go see various neurologists for. And about the same time, Gage, myself, and his biological mother, we started to grow apart. So there was a lot of challenging and a lot of timing, and it was a big effect for both myself and obviously for Gage. Gage was diagnosed in Dallas around about 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and at that point, right as all this diagnosis was going on and all this change and fear, because I was a single dad and I did not know the words autism. I had heard it, but I knew little to nothing. And
Mm-hmm.
about this same point, uh, Megan walked in. So we learned about Gage's diagnosis, formally diagnosis about autism, and our journey started. And it's tied to us. It's tied to autism. It's tied to so much more, to this island,
Health and
Mm-hmm.
nutrition.
health, nutrition, behaviors, so many different things. But
Yeah.
uh, around 2 years, and he was diagnosed, and we went through the process. And Megan was in both of myself and Gage's life, and
Mm-hmm.
we started going down the path, uh, looking at nutrition, looking at obviously speech therapy, ABA therapy, trying to learn and educate ourselves as much as we could. Because again, like I said, neither one of us
Yeah.
knew.
Well, Megan, one of the things I really enjoyed when you shared your story before is you told this story of sitting on the couch with Gage and not, you were really young
Right.
and you never dated someone with a child, and it was like this moment of silence because he didn't really talk, but you just share kind of like your connection with him that you felt that first time.
Absolutely. So he comes and sits on the couch beside me, which he was very much in his own world at this time. He was 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
He was still having seizures. And he came over, he sat down, and he just kind of looked up at me and smiled real big and like scooted over closer. And I'm like, wow, he's not talking, but he's communicating so much.
Yeah.
This child is so bright and so amazing, and he
Mm-hmm.
really touched my heart from then on, I'm like, first,
And
Gage was the bonus. Was amazing, but I got Gage too.
Yeah.
And at that
Well,
moment, I was in the room, but at a different viewpoint, and I was watching it all unfold, and it made me realize quite a few things about how special I was at the time.
yeah, I mean, that's incredible to find somebody that's, willing to take you with what you have. And instead of seeing Gage as a negative or as baggage, she saw him as this bright, beautiful kid. And I love that view. I think the world needs that view. And
Right.
yeah, I'm impressed. And so then tell us, Megan, how Gage affected your life and what you started to do professionally.
Absolutely. So I had worked in the call center industry, and I was a manager and a director. And we took Gage to speech therapy for the first time. And I watched as this amazing speech therapist got him to say sounds and do things I'd never seen him do before the first time she saw him. And I was like, wow, this woman not only gets to play with kids all day, she gets to help them learn and communicate with their world.
Yeah.
So I quit my job. I went back and got my bachelor's degree in speech language pathology and audiology. And then down the way, I found ABA, and I went back and got my master's degree in applied behavior analysis. And I'm working to complete my hours right now to be a BCBA.
That's incredible. I love that you were so proactive. You were like, you know what, I can do this. Like, this is going to matter in the world. And now you're making that difference, which is incredible. So, and then Josh, you painted a really beautiful picture of a time when you realized how nutrition and poor nutrition and sleep were affecting your life. So kind of share like your epiphany on that.
Sure. There was a moment, there's multiple moments, but one that sticks out is Gage and I were at a park and running around playing, and not many people there. Great day. It was in North Texas. And after a while, we both were I had my hands on my knees, and he was gassed and sweating, and we were, and we hadn't been playing that long. What we were doing was not super intensive, or so it made me realize at that moment, looking at him and then feeling how I felt, that we had to change something. That nutrition, simple exercise, what we eat, how it was impacting not just autism and necessarily his behavior, how he engages with the world, but just in general, my general health, everyone's general health, and how important it was to him, to me, to everyone. And so we went from that point on. We started the basic learning. I didn't know anything about nutrition, so I went along that lines, or exercise, and just started taking it upon myself to go that route. And as I would find out information, as Megan would find out information in regards to nutrition, we would apply that to us three at the time. And then down the road, two other little ones came along, and we've tried to establish that overall.
So what difference did you see in Gage when you started these lifestyle changes?
Sure. So originally we went to a nutritionist, and Julie, you were here. I feel like we were in autism in the dark ages, really.
Yeah.
Compared to the resources we have now, we had to search and find doctors and nutritionists who understood this holistic whole body perspective in autism. So we found an amazing nutritionist, and she's like, okay, let's test for food allergies. So we took out the things that he appeared allergic to on his testing, and one of those things was wheat and dairy. And he was 5 at the time. Within a week of taking him off dairy, he started talking clearly. Now, 1 word, 2 words, but it was better than the pointing, the grumbling, the grunting, the fits, the tantrums that we would see because he wasn't able to communicate. So Josh and I stopped and were like, okay, there's something to this. This may not apply to everyone with autism, but for him specifically, his body's not reacting to these things. So we need to take note of that and put things in his body that are fuel and that are nourishing.
Yeah.
Early on, when Gage was younger, early on, 6 months and on, runny nose, tubes in his ears, those traditional more Western medicine, always sick, always on an antibiotic, all that went away. And that alone, not pounding medication, not pounding him with uh, surgeries that may at the time may not have helped that much. He was healthier. He was sleeping better. So skin, everything, he was just healthier. And that alone can change someone's behavior. If you wake up and you just don't feel right, you're off. Imagine what that does. You know what that does to you. Imagine a 5-year-old boy who has no idea really how to communicate with his world.
I like, Megan, what you said about taking note of what, and I think it's really important for us as parents to be observers of our children, observers of their behavior, observers of what they're putting in their body and how that makes a difference. And then if they react, and it may not, that the gluten-free, dairy-free diet may not help everyone, but it does help some. It helps my daughter, I know. And I think, if we try it, or anything that we try, we need to really be watching and seeing the difference that it makes, and then continuing on with it if it does, and if not, move on to something else. But I like that observation. And so then you talked about how you started this with your son and then moved on to other kids. So tell us kind of where this went from there.
Sure. So while we were in Texas, we created, Josh is a personal trainer, and he had a small gym in Texas.
I left my corporate life and pursued fitness, and nutrition meant so much to me that I took it to a career level. Mm-hmm. And then Megan mentioned, she was on a path to working in speech and working in behavior. So
we decided, why not marry the two and create something where we're doing learning functional therapy in a capacity where we're not sitting at table time, or we're not sitting on the floor. We're moving around and we're using our body at the same time. And it was so amazing, Julie, because you would see new things these kids would do and Gage would do. Yeah. That just being in that environment where they had the freedom to, okay, I'm not forced to sit here, I don't have to do this, but putting those, antecedents in place where they've got these opportunities where they're in an environment where they feel comfortable, and it's more like play. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's right.
In the end, play. But it's so many kids, we see toe walking. We see just poor, high demand for different sensory for all of these kids. And we would take that, and then along with speech and behavior, and mesh it all together. And we say it, we could use all these fancy terms and do all this fancy lingo in regards to behavior or physical, but in the end, it was a structured, beneficial play for everybody involved. And we walked away learning so much more about ourselves, about Gage, about autism. It was huge. We loved it.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I mean, I know there's truth to all of that just because I saw it with my daughter. Her first word was when she was jumping up and down. And so there's something when the body moves, it releases something in their brain and gives them other abilities, and it gives them ability to think clear. And, I've seen that in so many kids, not just my own daughter. So I love what you were doing there. It's incredible. And, I encourage parents to try something like that. Look into some type of physical therapy that works in play, that works in all of it in one. If they're having progress, that's a great place to go and try, I think.
And then, like you said, movement is life. Movement is freedom. Yeah. And for for our kiddos and for individuals now, as we learned on the island, it's not just kids, but there's sensory and movement needs for everybody. Mm-hmm. So go out. You're right. Go find, if you know of someone who teaches judo and who has experience working with a child like yours, reach out, do the research, find. You might have to sacrifice a little bit, obviously, resources to try to help to get your kid to that spot. But if find that spot, and if it's not available, make it.
Yeah. I make it. If you don't find what you need, be the creator of it. And I have met with more families that have no resources or limited resources, or the resources available aren't good for their kid, and the parents, they create something for their child, and that makes everyone's life livable, and it allows them to become the best versions of themselves, which is all we want. We want them to succeed under their own terms with their own personality. So that's awesome. I love that. So then you decided, and this is so fun because I've seen this trend of families moving away with kids with disabilities to live a healthier lifestyle, and because they feel like the food is tainted in the States, and they feel like it's just not possible with the rush around of the city and all that. So kind of tell us your thinking behind moving and changing everything, because you literally dropped everything and moved away. So
We
really,
sure did. It was so Josh and I, we'd always, talked about, oh, we would like to move to Colorado, Oregon, the Pacific Northwest, Vancouver, and we started looking around. And then January hit in Texas, and I'm like, oh, it's cold. I don't want to move somewhere that's even colder half of the year.
Sure.
yeah,
So Josh is like, I said, I just want to move to the beach where there's beaches and mountains. That would make my heart so happy. And Gage has always loved the water and the ocean. That's always been one of his high sensory calming activities that he can do, that he's always preferred and enjoyed.
And hiking.
Yes. So Josh is like, hey, let's move to Hawaii. I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
so
that's crazy, but let's look, let's see, what is it like? What are the resources there? And that was a big thing for us, that in researching, especially Maui, there are minimal resources here for autism. So we're like, okay, if we go, we're gonna have to create something that will help the island and help the people on the island, because it's everywhere, and we're all in this together.
yes.
We all have a community that we build together. So we came to Maui in March of 2017 just to check it out, and with the idea of maybe in a few months, in a year, we'll move. And we had the most incredible time. It was just Josh and I. My mom was available to watch the kids for the week that we were gone. And when it was time to go, we cried the whole flight home.
Yes.
And we're like, how can we leave this place that is the people were welcoming, there's mountains and rivers and waterfalls and the most beautiful trees you've ever seen.
But yeah, you get out and move. Everyone's
active.
Everyone's active. Everyone's getting out and moving. Also, like you mentioned, there is a definite from where we were from and where we grew up and the world we knew. There's a different idea in regards to nutrition, growing, gardening, growing your own stuff, organic. It's just different mindsets here. Not saying it was terrible. It's just
it's a different color.
Right. This fits much more in line with what we were looking for. So, and there's that community aspect. Ohana, there's aloha. You feel these things. We felt these things when we came in March, and we came back to Texas, and it was all right.
How do we do this?
Yeah.
At the time, we didn't have money to just, let's move to Maui. It was kind of like everything just kind of fell in line beautifully. We sold our house, we sold everything we had. We came with 5 backpacks, 5 carry-ons, and 5 suitcases. Yeah, and it's been just one of the most incredible journeys, because in Texas, one of the things that we were looking to change was not only our outside environment, but we were very much in, I would work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day. We didn't have that time to slow down.
Yeah.
And that was really one thing about this place. Everything's at a slower pace. You're kind of required to be on Maui time. People here will shut their shops down and go surfing. Like, that's a common thing. Yeah. So everything is at a much slower pace, and just to remind us to really just take one day at a time, living in the moment and having a child with autism. Julie, I'm sure you're well aware, the statistics on it show parents will have postpartum post-traumatic stress syndrome. So it can be a very stressful life if you don't take the time to work on you and really slow down and realize, okay, I've just got right now. Tomorrow is tomorrow. Next week is next week. But I've got to take right now and do the best I can right now.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's good advice in general for everyone, but also just in life with our child with autism. We need to enjoy the journey of them, because they are beautiful when they can't talk and they're flapping their arms and they're severe. They're beautiful throughout the whole thing. Because I think sometimes we get so used to trying to fix them that we forget to enjoy them. And I really think I like to stop and be like, okay, I just want to look at you. Like, I want to see how great you are. I want to enjoy you right here, right now. And so I love that Maui is doing that for you guys. That's really cool.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Very much so. And you're right. Just embrace them for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And we're able. This place made it work for us. It felt like. And
Yeah.
tell for the children, it was an easy transfer. You tell them there's a beach and there's and
You tell us that it's relaxed. Yeah, that's really cool. Well, tell us about the charity and the charity work you're doing now.
Absolutely. So our charity we chose was Imua Family Services, and it is a nonprofit. I actually am working for them, completing my hours as an RBT to
Mm-hmm.
sit my BCPA exam. It is an amazing organization. They do early childhood intervention. They do speech language services. They do ABA for autism. They have a preschool on site to work with kids, and they've been around for over,
4 years.
I want to say actually closer to 75 years. They've been a presence on the island. They were originally started to help children with polio back when Hawaii, before Hawaii was a state.
Mm-hmm.
And they've grown, and it's we mentioned that community, that family atmosphere, and this Aimua embodies that very, very much so. There's a couple of events they do big here on the island. One is called Paddle Aimua, a lot of stand-up paddle boarding. They do it at a site. It's a very large charity event, but it's one of the things that a lot of the island, especially if you're a stand-up paddle boarder, you will be at Paddle Aimua. There's also Camp Aimua, which Gage attended, and it's summer camp, but for our kiddos, and it's all age ranges, and it's peer based, and Gage loved it. Gage had a great.
It really is. It was the first time we've ever let him go to camp, Julie, or go away and spend the night away from us. That's how big it was. Never had that ability or felt safe enough to go, okay, we're gonna let Gage go for a week with somewhere we don't know and people we don't know. But the accommodations, the resources that are put into it are so phenomenal for our kids, and they're very thorough. Does your child have any allergies? What calms them down? What's reinforcing? What are triggers? How can we make this experience the best for this individual child?
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, everyone's wishing they had something like that. And I will put the I'll put the links down there so everyone can check it out for themselves and kind of see what they're doing and support it if they would like. Yeah, I love what you guys are doing. You both radiate happiness. And I mean, one of the things that struck me so much about Josh is even over the phone talking to him, whenever he talked about you, he lit up. And I think that's really cool. I think your love story is really cool. The way you meshed your talents and abilities to help others is incredible. So I want to thank you for sharing your story and for taking time to talk with me today. I really appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you for having an interest in thinking of us.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. We'll talk again soon. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.